Have you ever had a moment in your life where you look around and think, how did I get here? And who am I becoming? I'm Sam G, a triple registered architect who has practiced across South Africa, Australia, and the USA. This is your design passport. Real stories, practical pathways, and global design ideas to help you build a career and a life that travels with you. Ready? Let's stamp your passport. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you look around and think, how did I get here? And who am I becoming? My moment wasn't dramatic, no movie montage, no grand epiphany, just me sitting at a desk in Dallas, flipping through drawings in inches and realizing that somehow moving across 3 continents had completely rewritten who I was, but also it had given me an appreciation for life. I'm Sam G, and this is your design passport. Today, I'm taking you through the real story of how I rebuilt my architecture career in South Africa, then Australia, then the USA, and what each country taught me about identity, confidence, burnout, and becoming the architect and woman I actually wanted to be. Let's begin. Before we get into the flights, the visas, the registrations, the breakdowns and breakthroughs, I want to tell you why this episode matters. If you're thinking about moving countries, trying to get registered, feeling stuck or burnt out, or rebuilding your identity from scratch, I want this story to be proof that you can do it. It's messy, it's confusing, it's hard, but it is possible, and sometimes it's exactly what you need to grow. I wish I could tell you I had a beautiful aha moment choosing architecture. I didn't. It was literally, okay, what's next? Architecture? Does Tuckies have that? Sure, let's do it. But the moment I graduated in 2010, that was for my dad. My dad spent his whole life sacrificing his own education so his brother could attend university. So for him to watch me become the first in our family to go, to study, to graduate, that was one of the proudest moments of his life, and one of the proudest of mine. I love you, Dad. If you've ever left architecture school feeling like you know absolutely nothing, hi, welcome. You're normal. My first project, the ICH building in Rosebank, was a crash course in real-world architecture. One of my earliest tasks? Sam, coordinate the mechanical system. I had no idea what that meant, but I figured it out. The building is still standing, and honestly, I did a damn good job. That project was special because I took it almost from tender stage through documentation, inspection, completion, the whole cycle. Our firm even moved into it, which was the coolest full circle moment. And through all of it, I had the most incredible mentor, Lisa Blaine, a brilliant, steady, kind architect. When I studied for my exams later, I would literally ask myself, what would Lisa do? If I took the steps she had taught me, I knew I was doing it right. After 5 years of working, my husband and I hit a crossroads. Stay longer and risk getting too comfortable, or leave while we still had enough points, enough youth, and enough courage. We chose to leave. The hardest part wasn't the paperwork or the planning. It was leaving friends, leaving family, and knowing that because of the currency difference, visits would be rare. But thanks to WhatsApp and late-night messages, I actually spoke to my family more. Technology became a tiny miracle. When I arrived in Australia, I expected a smoother transition. They needed architects, I had experience, I'd run my own projects, I was a project architect after all. But suddenly, I was treated like a student, battling to find my first job. Despite 5 years of full practice, I had to prove I was equivalent to someone with an Australian master's degree. I had to do the 1,000 local hours, I had to do the APE, including the logbook, the SOAP, the digital exam, an interview with 2 architects grilling me on a fictional site. It was frustrating, necessary, but frustrating. And when I finally passed, my first thought was, great, I'm finally back where I was when I left South Africa. I worked at several firms in Australia, in the fields of education, industrial, and multi-res. Some incredible teams, amazing designs, beautiful friendships, but also some unhealthy cultures. One place was an absolute sweatshop. No work-life balance, late nights were normal, burnout was almost part of the architecture package. It taught me boundaries. It taught me the value of weekends. It taught me the lifestyle I wanted. Australia gave me the outdoors, the coastline, and the grounding I didn't know I needed. Then, COVID hit. The world shut down, and so did I. My dad got sick. Architecture, which had always felt like purpose and passion, suddenly felt like pressure without joy. And if you know one thing about me, it's this. I love architecture. Deeply. Fiercely. So when I stopped loving it, I knew it was time to pivot. And that pivot took me somewhere I never expected. To what many architects jokingly call the dark side. I became a specifications manager. Yep, I was now the one selling products to architects, doing CPDs, CEU presentations, knocking on doors, starting conversations, pitching, traveling, hosting lunches with zero guilt because that was literally part of the job. And honestly, I loved it. It gave me something architecture had never given me. Balance. Breakfast that wasn't rushed, going to gym at a normal hour, weekends that actually felt like weekends, a sense of creativity that wasn't only tied to deadlines and deliverables. It also gave me one of the greatest skills of my career, public speaking. Because suddenly, I wasn't the one listening to CPDs, I was the one delivering them. Room full of architects, mic in hand, slides behind me, let's go. I learned how to present, how to hold a room, how to teach, how to persuade, how to simplify complex ideas, and how to read an audience. And truly, if you're an architect listening to this, I would highly recommend everyone spend a season on this side of the industry. It rounds you out in a way architecture school never will. But even in that job, even with the balance and the freedom, the truth stayed the same. I still loved architecture. I just needed to love it differently. And that meant starting again, which brings me to one advantage of being an Australian, the E3 visa, similar to an H1B, but faster and exclusively for Australian citizens. But the catch? I needed a job first, and that search, wow. Sending CV after CV, Dear John email after Dear John email. It felt like a second job, a full-time job of just looking for a job. Until one day, I had a calm, okay-ish interview, nothing magical. I even told my recruiter, it was fine, I guess. A few days later, I got the job. That was one of the highest highs of my career. We filed paperwork, hired a lawyer. Please hire a good one. We had a typo that now impacts my husband every time he travels. We filed paperwork, hired a lawyer. We went for our interview at the US Embassy in Sydney, waited for visas, and then we were in. Landing in the US felt surreal, exciting, huge. And then the reality hit. Time zones are insane. Everything is backwards, inches still make no sense, and the metric system will forever be the superior system. My first job in the US gave me something I hadn't felt in years. Appreciation. Genuine appreciation for my skills. My experience, my perspective. It rebuilt my confidence in a way Australia never did. That was also when I realized imposter syndrome didn't hit until I got here. Because getting a US firm to want you, sponsor you, bring you across the world, that's when you stop and think, wow, I must actually be good at this. My proudest US moment so far? Becoming registered again. A full circle achievement across 3 countries. Architecture is the constant, the passport. The thread running through every country, every move, every reinvention. New places, new codes, new regulations, new software, new friends, new levels of resilience. Without architecture, none of these moves would have been possible. And I am deeply grateful for that. Changing countries is hard. Licensing is hard. Rebuilding a career is hard. But it is so, so worth it. If you want to do it, if you want to try, if you want to start again, you can. You absolutely can. If today's episode resonated with you, if you're an architect considering moving countries, or if you're somewhere in the middle of this whole process, hit follow, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who needs a little courage to take the next step.